r/AskReddit. What is the most random NSFW history fact that you didn't learn in school? The group of people who lived in ancient Peru who would go to great pains to only depict sodomy on their pottery. They were super anal about only depicting certain sex acts. If you catch my drift, https://n.wikipedia.org Wikimosh culture. Queen Victoria loved sex, as attested by her 9 kids in about 18 years. She loved sex but hated pregnancy. She never announced her pregnancies. The newspapers would report that she became ill for an afternoon, then boom. New royal prince or princess. Also, any woman who have had painkillers during labor can thank Queen Victoria. She helped popularize the use of chloroform during birth. Pretty sure they had to write to the Archbishop of Canterbury for permission, as labor is supposed to be painful. Bible, original sin, etc. King Edward VII really loved prostitutes, but found himself hindered by his weight, so he had a special chair commissioned to keep at his favorite French brothel. His chair allowed him to have threesomes with the prostitutes, while also being able to support his weight, since he didn't want to crush his partner or partners. Mozart wrote several songs about anilingus. Lek mich marsch, lek mi den Arsch fin recht sch and Sorber. English translated lyrics for Lek me den Arsch fin recht sch and Sorber, according to Wikipedia. Lick my ass nicely, lick it nice and clean, lick my ass. That's a greasy desire, nicely buttered, like the licking of roast meat, my daily activity. 3 will lick more than 2, come on. Just try it, and lick, lick, lick. Even a serious composer has to write something more tongue-in-cheek once in a while. Rasputin convinced tons of women to sleep with him using religion, claiming that forgiveness was the highest grace and that unless you sinned, you could not be forgiven. The Palace of Versailles in France was huge and had numerous people coming in and out because of a number of reasons. If people really needed to, they would defecate or piss in any corner of the palace and just leave it there. It was also nearby a river of sewage, so just coming near the palace reeked. It's not how you would like to imagine Marie Antoinette living. That the ancient Egyptians believed that the god Atum, after creating himself from water, created 2 other gods, Shu and Tefnut, to build the world either by masturbating and spitting his own semen from his mouth, or having sexual intercourse with his shadow depending on the myth. Edit. Just noticed a repeated word and I can't live with that. That Genghis Khan fucked enough of Asia to ensure his bloodline would continue for generations regardless of what peoples lived or died. So many that nearly 0.5% of the world's population are descendants of Genghis Khan. Fath Ali Shah Qajar, second king in Qajar dynasty in Iran, about 200 years ago, had 160 wives. Nasseruddin Shah Qajar had about 50. In Islam, you're not allowed to marry more than 4 wives at the same time. It is said that Nasseruddin Shah was once walking in his palace and saw a beautiful girl and asked if he could marry her. Everyone was looking at him weirdly and he asked why. One of his servants said that she was his daughter. I read that Victor Hugo slept with so many prostitutes that all the brothels in Paris were closed on the day of his death because they all took the day off to mourn his death. Catherine the Great of Russia was quite fond of sex. She had multiple lovers, many of them much younger than her. Her last lover, Prince Zubov, was 40 years younger than her. She often raised her lovers to high positions and gave them gifts. She had also La Pravus, tester of male capacity, who had sex with any potential lovers before they were allowed to spend the night with Catherine. This person was Countess Praskova Bruce, confidant of her. Catherine had also erotic art and furniture. Legends say that she died while having sex with horse, but this is not actually the case. 12-year-old Pocahontas used to entertain white colonists with nude cartwheels. This is actually one of the few things we know about her that's indisputable. La Palatine, Louis XIV's second sister-in-law, who had quite a temper, replied harshly to the king, slapped her son, a prince in public, loved to take shits in the outdoor. She wrote countless letters saying she hated Versailles because she had to sit around valets, and thus could not enjoy her sit dropping. President Warren G. Harding had a 6-year-long affair with a lady named Nan Britton, who in her autobiography said that she and Harding had sex in a closet in the White House, and claimed that Harding was the father of her daughter. At the time of its publishing, the book was met with public ridicule and widely discounted as the stuff of pornographic fiction. Britton was labeled a sex pervert and degenerate, and a book was even written to counter her claims about Harding, who was married to another woman. It was confirmed in 2015 through ancestry DNA testing that the descendants of Harding and Britton were indeed related. During the war, the British dropped pictures of Hitler with his dick out in Germany. One of the most intriguing and insidious insults to Adolf Hitler was a propaganda postcard code numbered H789 produced by director Sefton Delmer of the British Political Warfare Executive (PWE) that showed the FAHRER with his penis in his hand. The postcard chosen to caricature was originally a product of Otto Hoffmann of Munich. Hitler stands on what appears to be balcony with his left hand on the rail and his right hand on his waist. In the parody, his right hand is depicted holding a circumcised penis. This probably was designed to feed the rumor that Hitler was indeed a self-hating Jew. Source: Charles II. Charles the Impotent was the convergence point for several generations of royal inbreeding and was born with significant disabilities. His parents were desperate for him to produce an heir. They implemented a system of ropes and pulleys to lower virgins onto him in hopes he could impregnate one. It didn't work, and the dynasty collapsed. The Egyptians did not wear helmets to build the Great Pyramids. There are little penises carved and engraved on the pavement in Pompeii that point towards brothels. Those little dicks survived volcanic eruption, as did some NSFW paintings inside the buildings. There was a Victorian sexual purity activist who was staunchly anti-masturbation. Unsurprisingly, descriptions of masturbation in general society at the time were so broad and so couched in euphemism that one day she found out that she'd actually been masturbating for years without knowing that that's what she'd been doing. Thanks for watching. If you liked my video, go ahead and check out my other content, and also don't forget to like and subscribe for new videos. If you loved the video, leave a comment.